I used to be a big worrier, and I still am. I get quite anxious over. I worry about stuff that's going to happen in like 2050. So I think for me, it's actually living in the moment. If I live in the moment, I'm much happier.
So how did the Made in Chelsea thing come about?
Looking back on some of the stuff I did, it wasn't actually me to do that sort of stuff. Alexa, what's about red? Yeah, I do like a glass of red.
I do love a glass of red.
I mean, what a shifter. I hope she's well.
Welcome to Only Tools and Horses, episode 5. I'm here with my co-host Ashley House.
As always.
And today we're joined by Made in Chelsea star Sam Prince. Thank you so much for joining us, mate.
Hello, boys. You well?
Yeah, all good,
I
mate.
wasn't a star, but yeah. Sounds good.
It's so strange, like having Made in Chelsea star. I know you as Sam Prince as the mate. Do you know what I mean? This is fucking insane. So we're going along with
My mic is currently broken, but 1 second.
Oh, are we fucking going for a broken mic already?
Yeah,
this is why
mic.
we usually go for beers. Sounds like a better idea and try and rectify with all of that. But we'll just keep on going through. Best way to be going, just keep on going through. So I think the best way of saying, well, why have we got Sam Prince on a podcast that is marketed at the equestrian industry? It's an interesting question.
And a lot of the reason why we wanted to get you on, Sam, is just because we feel the industry needs more exposure, and we feel like with your following and your social media, this would be a brilliant way of trying to gain more exposure to the industry. And also, we feel with how your life changed so dramatically in such a short period of time, we can sort of relate that to so many life experiences that we feel will be really helpful with people.
There's a lot of topics that I feel like you would have lived and experienced that would really help a lot of people that are going to listen to this and just go through your life basically. I mean, we've known each other, the three of us, for donkey's years, 10 plus years.
I think
me and Ashley went to school together. I think when we were literally tiny, and whenever I go back home, like East Grinstead way, Josh, I always see in the gym, no matter what gym it is in East Grinstead.
He's an animal.
And the barbers as well. We always bump into each other in the barbers all the time.
That local hairdressers, you're always in there.
Literally.
Bizarre. It's every single time.
Yeah, literally, mate.
And I rarely come back, and I always see it.
Yeah, literally.
Are you just hibernating in Chelsea now? Like, you just don't leave? Like, I'm here.
I actually moved out of London at the start of lockdown. So I went through a breakup, then moved back home, and then I moved to my buddies in Sevenoaks.
Right.
Just while this kind of Rona season's here.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be back to London when this season finishes, which I hope soon, but I'm not too sure. But I'm pretty happy here. I'm like 20 minutes away from London. I can walk onto a golf course. For me, this is ideal for this current situation.
Yeah.
I do think at one point we were all together at my grandma's.
Do you think?
Yeah, I genuinely think so. With my cousin Harry, you know, I'm sure we all at one point were having when we were like 7, 8 years old.
Did they have a pool?
No, this was literally down Dunnings Road. I'm sure we literally
Mate,
all at one point.
Because
that's the first time that I literally came into met you guys because you were both at the meets together.
Yeah.
So that's how I vaguely knew both
exactly what you're about. Yeah.
I do remember going to like parties when I was like, must have been like 14, 15.
Yeah.
Just seeing you, like Josh there. I used to go out with like the Sackville boys, like because they lived down the road.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you see many of the friends from that you grew up with now, or is it just like a completely different?
It's to be honest, I've actually reconnected with them. So basically went away in January. I decided that I'm going to take a permanent break away from London. Just on my career and what I wanted to do. And I've reconnected with a lot of my like St. Bede's mates, and it's been really healthy. Like, I live with my best mate from school now, and it's great. Like, I actually love it. I don't see myself. Yeah, it's really nice. This is why Corona season has been great.
You're actually 2020's actually worked out really well for you. Like, there's a lot of people that say that, actually it's been the worst year that everyone's faced. Whereas I think we look at it and there's some been difficult times, but actually it's not been a bad year. 2020
is probably one of the best years ever. For me, it's been the best year ever. Like, I've launched another company. I'm about to do something else over the next 2 weeks. I've launched my own podcast. So for me, this has been a banger. Like, I don't take anything. I know a lot of people are affected in a negative way, but for me, this has been like, I couldn't have had a better year, realistically.
Of course. And I guess in a way, it's like we've all been put in a difficult situation with the coronavirus that none of us can like change. But I guess it's all completely is how you react to the situation. And like you say, your experiences now have led you to be able to use some bad experiences this year with COVID and change them into positive.
And I think it's all what you make of it. Like, you can look down and think, oh, it's a really terrible year. And it is, like, the things that are going on now is terrible, but I think it's what you make of it. And for me, it's an opportunity to not go out, I used to always be there going out at the afters. And now for me, that is just, I wouldn't do that anymore.
It's a change of mindset. You when you get put up against these hurdles, do you just turn around and go the other way because you can't get through, or do you jump over the obstacle? I feel like you've very much adapted to 2020 and gone, right, there's issues here, let's solve them. How do I come around them? How do I become a better person? You look happier. You look like you're glowing, mate. You're like a different man altogether.
I'm pretty happy. Like, it's not a lockdown. It's lockdown in a few hours again.
Yeah.
For me, this is like, it's grind time. I don't have to. I don't have to focus on anything else but my work.
No.
Yeah.
Bloody great.
And I was going to say, I've sort of bumped into you quite a lot last year at Solan in the gym together.
Yeah. And my nana has a house around the corner.
Yeah.
And I used to nip there quite a lot. I used to it's closed down though, right?
Yeah, it closed down. But like I was going to say,
I was going to say, don't give them any publicity. They're horrible people and they treated everyone terribly.
But even so, what I was saying is, I saw you quite regularly in there, and seeing you now, you can see how much you've changed in a year from being maybe in that social life up in London to now where you look much happier for it, much happier for it. Has it been like a massive weight off your shoulders coming out of that?
I think coming out of, I used to be every single weekend, probably Thursday to Sunday, I was out, absolutely sending it. I used to literally leave my house on Thursday, come back Sunday. And it just wasn't healthy and it's not sustainable. And I think I'm glad I did all that because now I realize that like what I really want. And for me to achieve my goals for the next 5 years, sending it 4 nights a week is not in...
there's not enough Baroccas that can get you through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to go again.
I don't think I've ever had a hang of it, but it is not sustainable. And I think for my well-being and for my career, it's not good.
You briefly mentioned on launching different companies in your career, and you're grinding at the moment. So for everyone that's listening, what's going on with you? Like, what companies are you launching? Where's Sam at in the world of business?
So I launched at the start, the first lockdown we had. I launched a company with my buddy called Forager Herbs, which is a herbal tea company focusing really on health benefits. And I mean,
so you've gone from Stella Artois to tea. Love that.
For me, I've always smashed green tea. I've had green tea every morning for years. Yeah. So it was like the perfect step. I met the right guy to do it. He's a herbalist. I didn't even know what that was. But there is a herbalist out there. he can create these blends, and and it works really well. We have a great partnership. We're developing into all different things. New Christmas tea coming out. So there's lots of stuff that have been happening over the last 8 months regarding that. And then I'm about to launch something else happening in a few weeks, and then a podcast. But it's all because I got more time. When you go out so much, you can focus on the stuff. And Forager has been a massive success with this year. We're going into the last quarter in a really strong manner. So I'm really, really excited about it.
Well, honestly, mate, like from mate's perspective, not just people's listening, like Josh and I will both say we talk about, we've got loads of friends that, ironically, friends that you will know as well, that when you see your mates doing well, it is so refreshing to see. And it's almost like a sense of pride. Like, I'm proud for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, so genuinely well done for what you're doing and where you're going. Like, from where we was little to where you are now, absolutely killing the game, mate.
I appreciate that.
But there was a little bit in the middle, right? Which, again, you're Sam to me, but I think your mates call you Prince.
Yeah, I think... I never really get called Sam. It's Princey or Princess. Princess is a big one. I've been called Princess for fucking years. Princess, yeah. I never really get called Sam anymore, which is bizarre.
So how did the Made in Chelsea thing come about? Because that to me was just like one day, oh, Sam's Made in Chelsea, and I was like,
I was to be fair, I was really lucky. I was with a girl for like 3 years, and it was a time where I was just, I think you've all broken up with girls. And it's just your first love is just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
I remember just being in such a pickle. Like, I was in a fucking pickle. I was like, how the fuck do I get out of this? I didn't go to uni, so I was like, what am I going to do? And I remember having stuff with mum, and she was like, why don't you like do television or something? I know that's what you wanted to do. And then weirdly, a week later, I got a DM from this like TV producer saying, would you come on and have a meeting with us? And at the start, I was like, no, because I was just in such a pickle. All I wanted to get back was my ex-girlfriend. I was like, I can't. I could barely speak to anyone, let alone do like a TV show.
Was she aware at the time that you were taking these meetings and potentially going through, or was that like just as much? Was that just as much of a shock to her? Like,
we weren't on speaking terms at this point, so it was like, and then I eventually went like a couple of weeks after, and then and I suddenly found myself on this TV show, like chatting bollocks.
She must have had such a shocker.
I mean, what a shitter. I hope she's well. But
I mean, I would have preferred you to throw some shade, mate. It would have been brilliant drama that we could have just clickbaited and just gone with that. I mean, she probably...
We're on speaking terms now, but she's... I mean, it's pretty weird thing how that manifested. It was pretty bizarre.
No, mate. And plus, it takes, I'm not being funny, a big person to break up with someone and then also have a good relationship with them like that.
She actually broke up with me.
Love that, mate. Yeah, cheers. Make me look like a right dick. Brilliant. Well, and you're living your best life, baby. You're mingling in a good circle. It seems like you've had a few different love interests in the life, so you're bouncing back. You're doing well.
So, sorry, carry on, Sam.
No, carry on, mate.
So how did you find that? Obviously, before the show, you had, like you say, your sort of first love for 3 years, and then all of a sudden you're on a reality TV show, and now everything you do is seen by everyone. How that must have been a really hard transition for you, from going from being able to live your life to being completely exposed to every single move that you do.
In hindsight, realistically, I wouldn't have gone on the show so young.
How old was you when you went on the show?
My first meeting was 18.
Wow.
So I'm 23 now. Like, I'm going to be 24 soon. Like, what the fuck? Wow. So I think 18 doing that was like probably a little bit of a mistake, but at the same time, a great opportunity.
Yeah.
I went on there. I didn't really know who I was. I just got a fresh breakup. Lost little soul, to be honest. So for me, if I could do my time again, I would do it at an older age when you understand who you are as a person. I don't know. I'm at 18. You don't really know anything. You just start going out. Like, everything's very, very new. So I think for me, I would have definitely gone on a bit later. But would I go on now? Probably not. But it was a great.
So there's no return for Princey back to the square.
Right now, there's too many things going on in my life, and I'm like, if things carry on the way they're going, the next 5 years could be fantastic. Yeah. So for me, I'm not looking for any other more opportunities. I am looking for opportunities, always looking for opportunities, but this show would be too much of a distraction from what I'm currently doing.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I was always curious about is how does the show work? So you meet with the producers. Do they just sort of throw you in with the cast and sort of say, go out for a couple of weekends and sort of see who you get on with, and then those relationships and storylines naturally like grow?
Yeah, I did. Before I was on the show, I did kind of like knew a few of them on the show already. I was already living in Chelsea before I was on the show with his girlfriend, which ended beautifully. But I think it was already kind of knew who they were and knew of some of the people. So I don't think slipping in wasn't too difficult. But they just kind of like, it's basically that they want people to, you basically just catch up with your friends.
Yeah,
it was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty easy to fit in, but a really bizarre experience. Suddenly you've got the camera in your face and you're like it's just very bizarre.
Mate, yeah, no, tell me about it. I've been on films. It's a strange world. It is completely different to what anyone else has ever experienced. It's just like literally being picked up and just dropped in a different life.
Exactly that. Karen?
No, I mean, it must have felt just absolutely bizarre for you.
It was really, really bizarre because I actually never really. Also, did pantomimes. Like when I was younger, I did loads. I think you probably knew. Like I did quite a few pantomimes, and I did like tap dancing shows, which is fucking rogue. But
he was also a very good golfer as well. At one point, I thought he was going to be a pro golfer.
I thought I was going to be a pro golfer. I still think I'm going to be a pro golfer, but I'm not going to be. It was a really bizarre kind of experience.
You briefly touched on your relationships and that you'd gone through on Made in Chelsea. Now, I don't want to bring it up as a mate, but it was on the show. So I'm going to, and I'm going to ask about at the moment. There's a famous clip with you and the Toff that went absolutely viral. And it comes up because, ironically, I was scrolling through TikTok the other day and it has now become a trend. You know how they like soundbite things?
It went viral. It got like, I got a message, it got like 100,000 or something weird.
Yeah, mate, literally, I tell you what.
On
TikTok, there's
I'm out of date. I was just surprised that even made it there.
On TikTok, there is thousands and thousands of videos recreating that moment, and I'm telling you, it's probably plus millions and millions of views. Literally,
like, your name's still circulating, mate.
Like you're still in the press with that.
Boys, I'm 2 years out.
If you was here in person, it would have been beautiful. We'd have recreated the whole thing. Would have been up on your TikTok.
That could have been quite funny. I would have definitely got into it.
Maybe when we get you back in the studio, we'll recreate that moment. But that it's a weird thing for us because I know you personally. Like I know, as you say, people call you Princey, Princess. They know you in a different context, and the people of the United Kingdom see you as
people of the United Kingdom, yeah.
People of the United, maybe people of the world. They've seen it everywhere. But I see you as a mate, as we've said, and sometimes the way you came across is completely different to who one you are now, and two who you are. I mean, sometimes there's an element of maybe an ego playing up to the main Chelsea, but you're one of the most down to earth, humble people I've ever met.
For sure, I don't think. For me, that looking back on some of the stuff I did wasn't actually me to do that sort of stuff. Like, I would never. I say that, but I mean, I've done. I don't know. I feel like I definitely didn't portray myself as the real person I actually am. But also, you're very, very young. You're going out all the time.
Of course.
Like, it's a very bizarre state of mind you're in. So yeah, I don't know. It's very.
But then again, there's so many guys that have predominantly done the exact same thing, like
just without the cameras on.
Exactly. Like we've all made mistakes. We've all probably hurt someone, but we're in the luxury that we aren't having a camera filmed and showcasing everything that we've like fucked up doing, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas like you say, at such a young age, and probably the biggest transition that you make is between the ages of sort of like 18 to 22, especially as a young guy. You're literally doing it on camera in front of people, your transition that you made. So I guess in a way, do you have some form of regret about how, like you say, we've known you, we were in sixth form for a period of time together. I knew you as like the way that show ended up presenting you wasn't.
It didn't. I don't feel like they did you justice, and no. I feel almost almost in your corner wanting to kick off like, what are you doing? That's not the accurate representation of what you're portraying.
I think I played up to a particular personality trait that I've definitely done those things since that, but I think I've played up to it. I think probably for the show. I think a lot of people do that. I think suddenly you've got cameras, you've got producers in your ear, you do things.
The adrenaline's going as well.
Erratic. That you probably, and also I was going out an awful lot. When you go out an awful lot and you drink a lot, trust me, there's nothing fucking good about it. There's no good. And I was going out like sometimes like 5 days a week. I'd find myself in nightclubs like on a Monday night, absolutely sending it. So I think when you're doing that, and like you're a young age and you are very mature, you do play up to these sorts of things. And I think I definitely did. But I don't have any. I do have regrets. I did upset a few people, but at the same time, I don't want to hold any regrets. I did it. I was very young, but lost. But I don't really have any regrets.
Are you on good terms with these people now that obviously the public is in?
On the show currently, I probably speak to like probably 3 people on like a regular basis. Apart from that, I don't know. I'm still. I haven't really like fallen out of people, but there's 3 that I will consider as close friends, and that's.
Go on. Who's the closest? I won't know who they are, but let's go for it. Who's the closest?
I don't know, like I consider. I probably won't bit this in, to be fair, but I don't know. Closest. Probably Mitt. I'm pretty close with Mitt.
Yeah.
Sam Holmes is currently on it. Like Charlie Frederick currently on. Like I'm pretty close. Like I'm always close to everyone. I haven't fallen out with it.
No, you're on good terms with everyone, and I think that goes back to how you say about how much you've grown as a person, and you've done it publicly, and you've done it very well. Like to who you are now and who we're talking.
I mean,
to.
I could have done it better on the show. I could have done a better job, but I think.
Yeah.
I think
But then you wouldn't be who you are right now if those events didn't happen. So, like you say, you're the happiest you've ever been in yourself. So why would you change the events that happened? Like, at the end of the day, I think it goes back to, we actually had this in episode 1. It's like with my TikTok, I blew up. I've got like 45,000 followers on my TikTok now. And it doesn't represent me in a particularly good light. But
he still posts.
But even so,
at the same time, have you got that following? Because I think I did actually see a video. I had a little look on the podcast and also your Instagrams before I came on. Yeah. And it's because you're pretty honest about like your past, right?
Yeah, absolutely, completely.
The reason why you got that following is because you're authentic to you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's why you got the following. That's why it'll carry on growing, because you
exactly. But I think that is.
But is it good for your brand? I'm not sure.
Well, we'll soon find out. If it completely flops, I'll stick to firefighting and then go no other further than that and just stay there. I'll be content. But I mean, it is very, very similar in the situations more for you two guys with social media. You're making some mistakes, not all the time, on publicly. Did that affect your social media? Like, how did that affect you? Because that I imagine me and your
I love, and that sounds but when people, firstly, I'm not big on social media. I'm what's known as like a micro influencer. I actually have fuck all followers in the grand scheme of things. But for me, it's whenever you do something bad, you just blow the fuck up. So that's another thing. Like, you do bad stuff on the show, but also you kind of blow up. But I've never been a really big part of the show anyway. But if someone gave me hate or anything like that, I quite enjoy it. I find that quite funny. A lot of people get affected by this sort of stuff, but for me, if someone's going to spend their evening talking about me on their phone, I think it's fucking classic. That's actually great. I think people get affected in different ways, and I feel sorry for people that actually get really affected by that sort of stuff. I know a lot of people who are on a much bigger scale than I am do get affected by it, but for me, I think it's crack on. I mean, I get the odd messages, DMs now. I think it's great.
Yeah, no,
people are giving you hate, they always follow you. So
yeah, exactly. True.
I'll just start making a list of people that I can start calling out on this, and maybe it will happen for me the same way. But I commend you, mate. Like, that is that's just such a mindset to have, that you can let it run water off a duck's back, because not everyone has that level of thicker skin. I mean, I actually got more offended than I think you did. There was a TikTok that someone ended up making on Josh, which was calling him out for. Actually, you tell it. It was your
So I was just like, I was doing a modelling shoot with a horse, and I was topless for the shoot. And basically, this girl literally called me out and basically said, like, just basically get rid of all the male equestrians, like, get rid of them. And like, I tell you what, when that went like seriously viral, it blew up. Everyone, I've funnily enough got a lot of hate from people in America. So yeah, it went completely viral.
It just means you
exactly. completely.
Keep talking about me. I think it's fucking great.
Yeah, but I think like we're going back to is to be able to have that outlook on that hate and take it and use it in a positive way and go, I don't care, I'm still going to be me and stay true to who I am. That is brilliant, I think, especially now, for people to hear that from someone of your stature, because a lot of people just hear like hate and like it makes people upset. But the fact that you can go laugh it off and go, you know what, like, I don't care what you think, you're not someone I care about, so why would I even give you that time of day? I think that's really great to sort of listen to and hear to, because especially the industry for like horses, it's so close knit and it's so bitchy and just horrible environment.
I wouldn't know if you said to me, I wouldn't know anything about your.
No, I don't claim to. I just think. Sorry, carry on, mate.
No, I wouldn't know fuck all. But I think it's interesting to hear, sure.
But like, I think for people to hear like the way that you use it and almost use it to motivate you, just continue what you're doing, is brilliant. Because like I say, the industry is so fucking cliquey. It's horrible. It's vile. Everyone is out to get everyone. It's so much money, so much money involved, and
I do know so much cash involved. I do know that I do know horses are quite spenny. That's all I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it does look like there's a bit of money there in the polo scenes. There's a lot of money around horses. I mean, it must be somewhat linked, the people that you was on the show with, especially in Friends with now, that they must have horses.
I mean, to be fair, I won't really know. yeah, it's not something I'll probably talk about. But
I think we need to get you on a horse. I think simple as that. We just end up.
I played polo before. Like I have been on a horse. I am interested in like. I do quite like horses, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I have been on quite a few horses.
That is mental. The fact that you've played polo. I think that for me that is an amazing image. I think we can definitely do something with that. Definitely get a video going with just
instead of like the celebrity football matches, do a celebrity polo game.
Mate, high end, yeah.
I don't
literally.
I don't even know how polo is played. I think they have the sticks, the balls on the bottom, and then it's like the goals.
I think it's a fucking good sport. It's fucking tiring. I remember being like, God, this is tough. But I really enjoyed it. I love being on a horse. I think I would, if I had more time, I'd love to do horse riding.
And again, I think that's brilliant for a lot of people to hear, because some of the feedback that we've got from recent videos is the amount of guys during secondary school that are getting bullied for participating in the equestrian industry is crazy. So like for someone to be able to like clip that and hear you say that someone that's been on Made in Chelsea on TV actually wants to ride horses, I think it's things like that people don't realize how big is for the industry, because over here it's seen as such a feminine sport that there's some of the messages we've received. It's sad. Like a 9-year-old kid's getting bullied because he rides horses.
I think it's quite a flex to be fair. If you can afford a horse, it's quite high end.
Yeah.
I think I'm quite different because I just don't really care what people think.
No.
Yeah.
I can understand as a young kid being seen as horse riding and the stuff you have to wear. I probably can understand that he is getting bullied. That's really tough. I hate bullying. I think bullying is tough. I've never been bullied, but I know people that have been, and it still affects me to this day. So I think, I hate that.
Yeah.
On a cheerier note, other than that, we were talking about you've got a new podcast.
I have got a new podcast, yeah.
Right. Let's tell us about the podcast.
My podcast is a little bit different to yours. I can't actually say the name because we're choosing between two, but it's a guest-based podcast. We've had some really funny guests on, and it's basically a really light-hearted, funny chat. It's basically me just having a few beers once a week, and it's for me, I absolutely love it. For me to get to know a lot of them are my friends, a lot of them are people that I don't know, and for me to actually get to know these people is great. And also, it's a sort of chat which you'd never normally have at a pub or a bar, because the cameras are there and because you've got a microphone. The chat is and some of the chats we've had have been super deep, and I think it's been a really interesting platform for me to explore. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've decided to do 6. If I like it, I'll carry on, but I'm just doing like a 6-part series and just chatting to people, and you basically see me get quite smashed once a week.
So instead, you've cut back from like 4 or 5 nights a week now to just 1 week on the podcast. Do it all in one.
That's my excuse. So we normally do our podcast on a Friday if lockdown wasn't here, and we work all week, and then we have a few beers on Friday, but it's our podcast. I do it with my business partner with Herbal Tea with Niall, and I'm really enjoying it. I really do enjoy it. I think it's a really, I think podcasts now blowing up. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like the whole YouTube thing. I think you guys probably doing that as well.
Yeah.
I like the idea of making like a YouTube series and making a really nice piece of content that comes out every week. I mean, that's something I really wanted to do, and the fact that I can control the edit, I can control everything, is ideal.
No, mate, that's amazing. I think you're absolutely bang on with that. I think with Corona, people have got a lot of time where they initially get, they're very productive. They get everything done, and then they sort of sit there. And I definitely had it through the first lockdown. And you sort of go, well, what more can I do now? Like, where is this going? And you find yourself automatically drawn to just listening to hours on end on podcasts and podcasts.
I listen to, I'm doing this job at the minute where I'm taking lots of pictures of like this new product that I'm going to be launching. And I find myself listening to podcasts for hours on end. I think podcasts are so great. Also, I learned so much, and I imagine that time where I didn't used to read a book. I've learned so much over the last year just listening to podcasts. I think podcasts are like unbelievable.
Who would you say is the one who you listen to most?
I listen to lots of different podcasts. Also, there's so much variety. Like I obviously listen to Joe Rogan Classic.
Always.
He's great. Also, when I'm working for a long period of time, and I actually am working for like 3 hours, sometimes I like podcasts. I really like a podcast, but it's only half an hour. And I'm like, fuck, I wish it was longer. So Joe Rogan does offer that, where it is 3 hours, and you're tuning in for 3 hours on this one person. I think it's great. I think I'm a big fan of Rogan. Who else do I like? I mean, that's good. Yeah, I listen. It's impulsive sometimes. I like.
Oh, that's Logan Paul's one, isn't it? Impulsive.
Yeah.
I quite like him. His mate's kind of annoying, but I think they get some good guests on. I normally go for the guests, not so much the podcast.
Yeah.
I normally type in a guest I'd like to see on a podcast. There's lots of actors that I always want to hear from, and I think podcasts allow that really unfiltered chat.
Yeah. Oh, Spotify in the background. Love that.
Spotify started.
Oh, well, go on. What's playing? What do we think? A bit of Frank Sinatra. He's got his red wine. I think it is the evening.
Alexa, what's about red? Yeah, I do like a glass of red.
We do love a glass of red. I did come in and I did say we cracking open the Stellas this time. They said no, we've got too many wires and we don't trust you with drinks. So it's like, okay, right. I
wasn't even allowed to clap today. So.
Yeah, so they've left it in the more responsible hands of me. But then again, I am also sober. So I mean,
are you sober?
Yeah, mate. Sober, mate.
Mate, if you was here in person,
we'd get smashed.
It would be a very.
I thought you were sober as in life, like you're a sober guy. But I think.
Oh no.
No, I've not had anything that serious yet to announce that I'm sober. I'm still going strong, living my early life, getting there.
So I guess really, like we're talking about your podcast. So for everyone that's viewing this, where can they, when it comes out, eventually find your podcast?
So to be honest, it's going to be on all platforms. So
all platforms.
It'll be TikTok clips, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. YouTube's going to be our biggest one.
Yeah.
YouTube, we've taken a lot of time with the video content, because I always watch Rogan's. I always have Rogan's one on the background, for instance. I like watching them. So the big one is YouTube, and the way it's edited actually like a vlog. So it's really edit, but it should work. I mean, realistically, we can speak in a year's time and I'll be like, yeah, a podcast and release it. There's times where I think I'm not sure whether I like it enough, but yeah, it's going to be on all platforms. To be honest, it's going to be on Spotify and Apple and stuff. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, man. But honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out and where it goes. I mean, are you shooting it from, or have done from where you are currently in lockdown in the same space?
No, we've been to actually. So it's basically us arriving to beers at different people's flats.
I love that.
Get away from people just going to a studio.
Yeah,
I want it to be like a different environment every single time, and me just having beers in different environments, which could work. I don't know. We'll
Steve-O actually does something very similar.
Is he?
Yeah, Steve-O off Jackass. He was there was a interview with Mike Tyson, and they like got the Steve-O truck, but he drives around and just drives, and they have an interview in the back of a van, basically.
I mean,
that is fine. I don't have a big enough sponsorship for that yet. But
if anyone's listening and wants to sponsor a van for Sam,
for Sam, mate, he's come up with your slogan. We'll get you a sponsor straight after this. Easily done.
Yeah, if I had a big enough sponsor, I probably would. But yeah, it's I enjoy it. I do enjoy it.
No, mate. Honestly, it sounds like it's going well. I mean, is there anyone that you can say and release that you've had on? Who have you gone and spoken to, or is that disclosed content?
I mean, we've spoken to a few people. One of them won't get shown, unfortunately, but we've spoken to Lottie Moss, for instance, PK Mon, and we've spoken to a few like Love Island people. But we want to actually veer away from Love Island and reality TV. We want to actually veer away totally from that, and people and go into business. We basically want to go across the board. But we've been to a lot of Love Island, some MIC people, and some like models and stuff. And to be fair, the chats have been really good. I think a lot of the chats have been good because I've known them quite well. So I think it's easy to pick them up. Some interested people that completely cold who I don't actually know. I think that'd be quite interesting to have those sorts of chats. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm just there for the chat.
Yeah. Well, you learn so much as well, don't you? You actually like can pick up so many different things off podcasts. Like you say, like listening to Joe Rogan podcast, like some of the talks that he's had with some of the celebrities on there. I'll never forget some of the things that I said. Like you got the Mike Tyson podcast.
Tyson Fury one for
Tyson Fury as well. It was amazing. You've got Kevin Hart in there.
You haven't got him on yet, have you?
Sorry?
I haven't got Tyson Fury on yet, have you?
No.
On this podcast? Yeah, mate, all sorted. All sorted.
Mate, dream about that, can't we?
Mate, he'd walk in the door and I'd be like, hello.
Well, he might like the horses.
To be fair,
I think he does have horses.
You know what? You may have just sparked something. Maybe this is a little shout out to Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. get him in it, and maybe that is we introduce the traveller community into the equestrian. Actually, that's a fair point. Is in the equestrian industry. So obviously, Sam, as you know me, I know nothing about horses, which I've stated on every podcast, just in case the listeners aren't aware of that.
Now, how did this work out? So you know fuck all about horses, same as me. Snap.
Yeah.
How come you guys linked up to these?
So basically, we sort of similar to how I sort of reconnected with you recently. We just like met in the gym basically, and then it's something like, obviously, as you guys both know, I've ridden my whole life and made a career out of it. That's what I am. I'm a professional dressage rider. My aim is to eventually go to the Olympics.
So I'm a complete novice in all this. What is dressage?
It's basically Annie Rawling summed this up best. It's basically, imagine a bodybuilder of a horse doing ballet dancing.
Oh yeah, that did make a little bit more sense when she said that.
That doesn't make sense whatsoever. But I do understand. that.
Yeah. So
I guess it's pretty tough. That must be pretty.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'll try and put it in a way that I think I have learnt. Right.
Okay.
Dressage it originates from the war. Military, not the war, the military, and it's all about controlling your horse on the front line. It has developed into the talent of one part of it breeding the horse and the genetics. The other part happens to be on the rider, but essentially it's about controlling an absolute monster of an animal and making it dance.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
sounds very high end. I think.
Yeah, it's a very elite sport, and that's part of the problem, that it's becoming more and more elite. And this is why I started what we're doing now with Half Step. And this podcast is because I want it to be more inclusive. Like, it's a sport that is currently in the Olympics, but if it continues the way it's going, it won't be in the Olympics much longer. It's just crazy, the things that are going wrong with the sport, but no one's really doing anything about it. So I want to try and create a platform that people can come on, and yes, of course, it's brilliant.
Community.
Today. Yeah, absolutely. But we can have a guest like you come onto an equestrian podcast. Amazing. It's going to bring some exposure to the sport that we need. But also we can have like riders come on and actually be truthful and honest about what's going on, and give a platform for the riders to come on and talk. And that's the whole reason we started this.
And a bit of drama, mate. As you said, blows up. Follow it.
I mean, mate, it sounds great. I think you're obviously doing the right thing. I think your intentions are correct. That you're trying to actually help people within the sport.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool thing to do.
There was a really interesting
my podcast. I'm helping fucking Noah. So
entertainment during lockdown.
Yeah,
mate.
Exactly, mate. You're helping millions.
A lot of people.
There was an interesting point that actually I want to go back, and it's more to do with equestrian. But one thing I've never actually thought of, the traveller community. They've got a big love and relationship with horses.
I would
I know that. Well, I mean, is there
what the traveller community, as in like?
I know what you mean, but how you word it.
Travellers.
Oh, traveller, like I know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think travellers is the correct term.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but they have quite a history and love and bond with horses. I think, and I could be wrong, it stems from obviously travelling around and working land. I do apologise if that is completely misrepresenting and completely wrong. However, do they have much representation in the equestrian industry?
I have no idea, mate.
No,
I have absolutely no idea. I've never really thought about that. I know they have horses, obviously. Whether or not they compete and participate in the sport, I never really seen it. And I would say no, because it's so bloody elite and it's so difficult to afford,
and that's what I was taking it to, is we've had so many conversations that there are so many elements of this industry that from an outsider's point of view seem really, really wrong. And there's a niche part of it which is very elite, very inclusive. They don't like anyone outside the box. I think we've spoken about different people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different classes, and there's not a lot of representation. And ironically, it's just that the Travellers were brought up with the Gypsy King. I'm still trying to promote Tyson Fury on. But actually, it's one of the communities that I don't think I've ever heard has representation. I think that'd be amazing to include everyone, but It was just a question. I didn't know if you knew.
Exactly. But I guess like from episode 4 with Ride Out Racism we had on, basically how they sort of see the sport is it's a white person privileged sport. That's how the image is given off to the general public, which is so wrong and so backwards. Yet in life, that's not acceptable. We've moved so much further forward into the 21st century, but the whole community in the equestrian world is so backward. And this is what, again, like we say, why we're starting is why we're trying to open it up and try and make it more diverse. And that's the whole point of like Half Step. Yeah, it's an equestrian clothing brand, but it's an urban sort of streetwear culture vibe to it that we're trying to sort of make it more inclusive. It's multi-purpose. You can use it in the gym and try and make it more financially.
Something you can take a bit of pride in.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds great. I think, I love the idea. I think, I wish you the guys best of luck. I think it will definitely work out. Also, it's such a niche. I didn't really know all about what you're telling me about tonight. So I think, I think it should work out.
You've learned a little bit. It's been an educational conversation. I think it would be an amazing idea. One, we're gonna get you down when the Rona has taken a backseat.
We can hear about your new project as well.
Yeah,
that'd be brilliant.
We can go through all of that. But I think there is definitely somewhere in the pipelines where I've not been on a horse yet. You've only been on a horse once, but you enjoy polo. I think there's a video somewhere in that. I don't know where it is, but there's a video in there somewhere.
I think BBC One, like BBC Radio 1, what they were doing like the presenters were swapping and doing a sport, and someone ended up doing dressage. We should try and do something like we'll get you down for the day and get you on a horse and something. I think it would be brilliant, like TV to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely, mate. That'll be TikTok viral straight away.
There you go. Stick your finger up to the haters. Sam, mate, the way we've been sort of ending this is sort of just it just sort of happened. Is a question we sort of throw away to guests is over the things we've talked about and where you're going now is if you could give your younger self one piece of advice with everything you know now, like what is the thing you would tell your younger self, and also that bit of advice which would help anyone that's listening in similar situations?
I don't know. I used to be a big worrier, and I still am. I get quite anxious over. I worry about stuff that's going to happen in like 2050. So I think for me, it's just don't worry, it's all going to be okay. But it may not be okay. But I think to have that mindset, and I think actually I take that back. For me, it's actually living in the moment. If I live in the moment, I'm much happier, and I still now work to this day. I live in the moment as much as possible. But yeah, that's what I tell my younger self for sure. I used to worry about all sorts of stuff when I actually didn't need to worry about a thing.
No, absolutely love that, mate. Mate, honestly, thank you for coming on. And like I say, this is the first of a few times we'll have conversations and we'll be catching up. Next time there'll be a little bit more alcohol involved. I promise you. I mean, you've dusted through a nice glass of red, and I've managed to dust through half a pint of water. So yeah, I think you're on the better end of the stick at the moment. But mate, honestly, thank you so much, and we will make sure that all of your socials are linked. Forager Herbs will be put in all the descriptions where you can catch it.
Exactly.
As well as, and Half Step, main thing is coming out at the end of this month. We are getting very close to launch. It's getting very close to launch now. So we've got a promo video that's going to be dropping very, very soon.
We'll actually be showing Sam shortly.
Yeah, you're one of few people that is going to get to see this, and we're going to send you a very private link after this, which will self-destruct after 10 seconds.
We're going to be sending them over one of our technical teas as well.
Yeah, you'll have be one of the first people to receive our product, which is rarity. Lucky man. I mean, treat it with utter love and care.
Will do. Thank you, boys. I really appreciate coming on. It's been good to catch up.
Yeah, it's been,
and we'll speak soon.
Yeah, it's been great, mate. It was lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much again for joining us. Only Tools and Horses, we're out.
Boys, all the best.